Rotary International was founded in 1905. The goal of Rotary International is to seek peace through service to communities. Service above self has been the motto of Rotary International. Today, there are roughly 30,000 Rotary clubs in over 160 countries around the world. 1.2 million men and women are members in clubs that are all part of this unique international service organization. All clubs worldwide participate in various programs to fill the needs of communities. Each Rotary Club identifies its community needs and links up with other Rotary clubs to match funds that provide a school, a deep water well, a library, a hospital, or whatever is needed for that local community. Thousands of projects are completed each year thanks to the generosity of Rotarians and Friends of Rotary. Whether in Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, or even North America, there are community needs that Rotarians help fulfill. Through this spirit of service above self, Rotarians build a fellowship that create friendships that last a lifetime. Men and women in Rotary provide the opportunity to reach out, help, and give hope to others. This service builds trust, and trust builds hope. Hope that through international service we can build a better world and create understanding and peace. This is the goal of Rotary International. This program is a window for you to see the projects supported by the Rotarians in your own community. Hello and welcome. My name is Marty Peters and I'm your host this evening for Rotary in Action. Leadership is a very important value that we all place on our gentlemen and ladies in our communities, but Rotary has an avenue of service that is focused with youth, and it has to do with a program called the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. We all are trying to help youth learn and grow because ultimately they're going to be the leaders of our country. So this evening I'd like to spend some time with you and share and have an opportunity to look into our Rotary RYLA program that is giving the youth of our communities an opportunity to really show how they can grow and care and also give back to communities. So when we return, we'll come back and share some of our experiences with you. Thank you. It's good to be back, and with us this evening we have Darrell Marshall, who is our Rotary Chair here on RYLA, and our second guest is Julie Whitaker, an alumnus of our RYLA program here in this region of the country. And Darrell, I'd like to start with you. Could you sort of share with us a little bit of the history of how RYLA evolved and what it's become over the world these last 10 or 15 years?
Of course, Marty. As you indicated, RYLA stands for the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Conference, and is a program of Rotary International where they seek to take youth, recognize the contribution of youth and their leadership example, and expand on that through different programs. RYLA started in 1959 in Australia as a program of recognition for youth down there. In 1971, Rotary International made RYLA an official program, and from that point it has just taken off, and in recent years there's RYLA programs throughout the world. And I just happen to be fortunate to be the chairman of the local RYLA program in the district. And what we try to do is to take the youth who've demonstrated leadership example, but not just example, but also potential. And these are youth who do not have to be star athletes, they do not have to be straight A students, they don't have to be student government leaders for that matter. They can just be any student that has developed some leadership potential or experience, and we want to take that and make them better leaders for their communities, their schools, their churches, or whatever.
Well, you know, Julie, I wanted to ask you a question because I know it's so exciting for you to be here as an alumnus of the RYLA organization, but tell us, how did you find out about this, and what was the process for you to get involved?
Well, I was in many leadership roles in high school, And my high school counselor actually saw the success of the program in previous students. So she saw the potential for me to gain valuable knowledge from this training ground at RYLA. So she said that I should apply, and I went through the interview process with my local Rotary chapter and went through it, and as we say in the cliche form, the rest is history.
Yeah. What I was going to ask you, Darrell, when this all happens, how many, they're juniors, I think, and mostly in high schools. How do they all get together and how do they come up? What's the process for them all to meet and sort of the way that this all happens on this long weekend?
There are many ways it actually happens, Marty, because RYLA is done differently throughout the world. This happens in our particular area. We request Rotary clubs, as Julie said, to select a certain number of students to come up, typically high school juniors, because we want these students who will learn something, they'll take it back into their schools and their communities, and then they come up for what we have as a 3-day conference. Some other RYLAs last for a week, some last for a day. It just depends on the local situation and circumstances. To a program of speakers, outstanding speakers, whether motivational, they could be sports leaders, civic, community, whatever. Workshops where they learn the different leadership issues, perhaps ethics, perhaps community involvement, and experiential activities, which are kind of like the outward bound type activities where they learn about team and personal development.
You know, I was so impressed when I was up there, Julie. I call it controlled chaos. I think that's the only way to describe it. To be there and to see the fun that goes on, but also the new friends. And I noticed when we were there that a lot of them weren't from the same part of town. There are a lot of difference. Tell us about the mix of how these people come together.
That's true. Well, the RYLA in my area encompasses a rather large area. So we separate into groups during the weekend and have a variety of ethnicities, backgrounds, but we're all about the same age, and so we're really able to come together as a community and really learn the leadership and gain valuable friendships easily because we're all there for one purpose. When
you were there, how did you feel when you first arrived? Was it fear or was it just?
Well, it was mixed feelings. I was really excited just because it's a great opportunity to learn and to gain friends, but I was a little apprehensive because I didn't know what to expect. But it ended up being a great experience.
Well, you know, Darrell, I was going to ask you because I know the work that goes into it. It would seem that there are a lot of Rotarians that volunteer to be up there, but I noticed that they all want to come back year after year. What's the magic?
I think the magic is Rotary's emphasis on service. For instance, in 1949, Rotary came out with a motto or saying, every Rotarian example to youth, and RYLA is the perfect mechanism or organization for Rotarians to work with youth. And they come to RYLA, they function either as staff, they organize the workshops, they're family group discussion leaders. And a typical comment at the end of RYLA from an adult Rotarian is, my faith in youth is restored. I can't wait to come back. This is the best experience of my life.
You know, we've seen that over these past years. Darrell, let me ask you one last question, but tell me a little bit, how many people are in Rotary that are involved in putting this on?
Many people. We typically have almost 50 Rotarians actually up at the camp, but there's many more behind that.
Well, that's amazing. Why don't we take a look at the tape? We've got a tape here of the actual event going on up in the meetings.
That'll be great. Definitely shows that Rotary, it is a Rotary event.
Here's Julie, the controlled chaos.
I definitely remember coming off the bus and we all have to load our stuff, and it's the first thing we see. It's pretty exciting.
Getting registered here, huh?
It is. Here's the large hall that we meet and have our speakers.
How about the camp food?
Oh, of course, camp food. What can I say about it? It's great.
This looks like one of our activities. Oh yes, the newspaper activity.
The newspaper activity, where we make our facilitators.
I think it's the part that the Rotarians hate.
Yeah. You dress up the Rotarians that are there to
Yes, we
help?
embarrass them as much as possible. This is the funnest part here, and we're telling a story while they're prancing around on stage, and it's definitely a handful of laughs there.
RYLA may be about serious topics, but we also have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Carrie?
it's fun.
Oh,
What's
This
this
is the
here?
last day when we're about ready to leave and head back onto the buses. And it's just a time to reflect about what's happened the last couple of days and just to solidify the friendships that we've made and then head on home down the mountain.
A lot of
There's the
tears.
tears.
looks like,
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to see this because we've been there sometimes, and it's very emotional at this time. You know that.
for everybody.
Yeah, that's exciting. You know, it's one of the questions I was going to ask is you were asked to become an alumni and go back. Tell us a little bit how that process works. How do they pick? How many people of the original group that go up are invited to come back?
Well, as a junior, while you're at camp, your facilitator in the small groups, they nominate certain people to come back, those who are interested. So there were about 240 the year I went, and about 80 were selected for nomination purposes, and then about 10 were actually selected back. So it's about 5% that actually are able to return. It's pretty prestigious.
What a flattering bit.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
the message that I would infer in that too is that you're learning to give back, and this is the best way to tribute that. Darrell, how do you pick the 10? I mean, that must be the toughest job.
It is a tough job, and we're talking about the best of the best. But we actually have them run the conference, and so they really have to have a chance to show what they've learned and developed through RYLA and their own experiences.
I want to ask you a question. It just came to me. What have you learned after how many years have you done the chairmanship of and leading our area?
I'm now in my 11th year of RYLA, and that's my 5th year as chairman. It's my passion.
Yeah. What have you learned? What's changed in the last 10 or 12 years? Are there universal truths that are always acceptable?
Young people are young people. They have a lot of energy, and that energy, I find, energizes the older generation. RYLA to me is not just about peers, Julie and her peers learning about leadership. It's about intergenerational communication, and that's what happens. That's why Rotarians need to be involved with youth.
You know, I think of this as an opportunity for non-Rotarians to look into their own communities and find out what's going on and how they can touch the lives of youths. And it seems as though you've had a blessing by being there, but also we've been blessed by having you participate. Any comments that you've got, something off the wall that you might want to share with our viewers?
Well, my father was actually in Rotary, and I did see the workings of Rotary in my family, as Rotary is a community service-based organization. Well, when I got this chance to be in RYLA, it was an exciting part because I was able to communicate with my father about the different activities he went to, and we were able to share that connection between my experiences with Rotary and his experiences with Rotary. So it was actually really beneficial.
What has that done in your relationship? I imagine that must be phenomenal just to sit there and talk with him now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I can connect with him and understand the workings of Rotary as an outsider because I've never been a member of Rotary. So it's been neat.
And yet an outsider, I always worry about that word outsider because nobody's outside the scope of Rotary, and men and women all over the world can join Rotary and give back in service to their communities. You know, we're excited that this opportunity is to share RYLA. We know that it grows and it becomes, like you said, bigger and better. It's a privilege to have you here, and I want to thank you for the time that you've spent with us this evening or this afternoon to share your fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to roll to another tape that we have on. I think it's the speakers that attend that share their passion with these students up at Rotaries.
Our next speaker this morning is former San Diego Charger defensive back Miles McPherson. How many of you guys have heard him speak before? Guys, I gotta tell you, I heard him speak last year and he absolutely just blew me away. His articulation on sex, drugs, child abuse, and self-esteem have been heard by his students in public schools and universities in over 40 states. From his affiliation with the University of New Haven as an All-American, as well as his professional career in the NFL, Miles wishes to reach out to you today and share some of his experiences with you. His speech he's going to give today is a little different. It's called The Fire of Commitment, and he wishes to challenge you in what you put your faith in. So I need everyone on their feet and give a big RYLA 96 welcome.
Let me tell you something. Y'all up here to learn how to be leaders, right? This is my third time up here. Hold on. Y'all here learn how to be leaders. You can make a lot of money. You can have a big house. You can have a family. But how honest are you going to be? What I want to challenge you today is I want to challenge you once you put your faith in. What is your moral standard about? Are you about making money, having women, and having fun, or are you about being an honest person? Because you can make all the money in the world. You can be as rich as you want, be as successful as you want, and be a dog, and you'll never be happy. I played in the NFL for 4 years, made a lot of money, traveled around the country, met a lot of rich people. Some of them were good people, some of them were jerks. Now, as you progress in high school and you learn from these business people that are up here, I've been up here for 3 years now, and I've been dealing with Rotary for a lot of years. Let me tell you something, these people are about business. But when you grow up and go to college, you are going to be tempted to be an immoral person. Now, in this story I want to share with you, a story about 3 guys who had to put their life on the line for what they believed in, their moral standard. It wasn't about making money, it wasn't about being promoted, it was about what they believed in. That was the foundation of their life.
It's amazing you'd see these videos of the main speakers, you know. We have 2 new guests with us right now, and I'd like to introduce them, and then we can share the reaction of these speakers when you're there. Brad Oestreich is an alumnus and has been out a couple of years. And Sean, you're an alumnus from how many years ago?
Way back when in '94.
And, you know, I think of how long it's been since both of you been in. What was the reaction when you were there with the speakers that you had? Tell us a little bit about the experiences that you both had.
Well, I think that the speakers add a whole nother realm to the whole conference. If you were just talking with your people that you go to school with the whole time, then it adds a whole realm to go and listen to people that have made it to become leaders, like basketball players and other significant people in today's world.
Sean, when you were there, did you find that some of the speakers that you had were exemplary, I mean, just off the charts, and others were really bad, or were they pretty much all?
They were pretty much all extremely incredible.
Does one step out in your mind as being something that really got you going?
Oh, there were many of them, but there was one I remember, and I still use what he taught me today.
Really?
And he taught me about stage presence and the whole introductory to giving lectures, stuff like that, getting people hyped up and energized about the things you want to do, getting them motivated. And he had everybody up on their feet, making noise and jumping up. And I ran into people 2 years ago who still talk about him. You know, it's just amazing.
It must be exciting to be back. And I wanted to ask you, after you've been out for a while, you know, you've graduated from college and you're still in college, but you were both alumni. You had been selected to come back. And tell us a little bit about what you have to do as an alumnus when you come back to lead this. I understand from Darrell that you both are the leaders to run the whole thing. Is that right?
Yes.
Well,
I think, well, to add a little bit into my perspective is that I was one of those people that did not have the 4.0. I was not an ASB. I was not the perfect child. I didn't have the greatest GPA. And I came in and, you know, everyone said, well, you're not talking enough at the meetings. We got chosen, and we had a meeting once a month up to the final weekend before. And, you know, I was the little quiet guy. And then when I got up to the camp itself, they couldn't get the mic out of my hand. I wouldn't stop talking. So it was really interesting experience. It really changed me in terms of talking in front of a lot of people. And it's really progressed me into accepting those chances and taking the opportunities to talk to many people when I can.
The amazing part is like RYLA almost, especially as alumni, helps chip away the rough edges on you just to make you just even that better on every skill you had.
And you went to college up north, and you've graduated. You look back now, what's the value today now when you're in the working world? How do you pour over some of those experiences? Are they relevant?
They go all over the board. Everything from having the confidence to walk into a room and talk to anybody you need to. I do a lot of sales right now, so for me, the idea of walking in and feeling confident about what I do, to be able to read people, to be able to analyze what's going on and just get right into it.
Darrell, I know you're awfully proud of this process, but I can't give you all the credit. You know that this has come as an evolution with Rotary, and so many young adults are affected by this year in, year out. Do you have a feel of how many students, just in maybe the United States, are exposed to this RYLA program every year?
Rotary International comes out with different statistics, but what we seem to see is about 40, 50,000 throughout the world. And the largest programs, though, are in the United States. So I'd probably say probably at least half of that, if not more, are in the United States. But it is international in scope.
So that each year, many of these young students are given an opportunity to not only learn about themselves, but learn how to listen to others and to share multicultural experiences.
That is definitely correct, Marty. And just to see the impact, I receive testimonials every year from the students who are saying even one thing that changed their life, that made them a better person. Watching Brad matriculate into, from being someone who didn't really talk to, like you said, you can't stop him now. And watching Sean and even Julie, who was with us earlier, it's just amazing. And just see what RYLA has, what they've indicated to myself and others, what RYLA did for them.
Where is it going to go? What would be your dream if you had to see this continue? What would you do to change it or make it bigger or better? I'll open it up to, how about you? Do you have any thoughts?
I think the biggest thing would be to be able to reach out to more people. I think limiting it to 300, 400 students of, in a district that we have so many children that could, or young adults that could benefit from this. It would be an awesome experience for so many kids. What if we did have people that had 2.0s, and just to give them that urge to push them to do something better, it would be awesome.
And a lot of times we did find, like, we'd go in there and you find the people who were the most involved in school, and you have some others who weren't as involved but got to the camp, and they became the most outgoing, they became the most leadership oriented, because it was the RYLA experience that made them come out of their shells. And to be able to do that for more people.
Cheryl makes a good point, that you don't have to be these great people, but that it can bring you out. And that's why we ask the Rotary clubs that sponsor students, and they probably get 3 or 4 applicants for each student that they send. And so if we could send more, that would be wonderful. But they make their choices and they send these students. We tell them, we get students from all walks of life and young people, and it just gives them, even if it's just one thing that they pick up out of this, we've done our job.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the people that are viewing this and saying, well, we live in Des Moines, or we live in Washington State or someplace else. And all of these Rotary districts are providing this kind of an outreach for youth, especially these juniors in high school. I would hope, I guess, that you guys are going to carry the banner. You're going to be doing this someday, you and Julie. So we would hope that that's our legacy, if we can continue this and make it grow. And whether it's in California or Washington State or Atlanta, this can happen anywhere in the country. And so I think we're going to break right now to run a little tape. And when we come back, we'll be covering a couple of last-minute items at the very end.
Here we go.
And 2 pictures. Okay, the back, you all set there?
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Hi. RYLA has just been an incredible experience for me. I've been on leadership camps before, but nothing like this. It was just so open. So I just remember last year coming home and just having an open mind on everything. I didn't mind going to school the next day, and it just really opens your mind to everything in the world and everything to go for. And it really inspires you to just get out there and, do everything you can to be great.
Well, for you sponsoring Rotaries, I just want to tell you, if you're wondering what to do with your money, and this is the best thing to do, because it's good when you help out your community, but this helps out your community because you're bringing good people back to it. Because when people leave this camp, juniors and alumni alike, they're just going to be very good additions.
A lot of people say that, if we reach 1 or 2 people, it's all worth it, but this weekend I think we reached a little bit more than just a few people, and I think this is more than worth it. we're going to get a lot of people leaving camp today. They're going to be changed, I think. You guys agree?
Yeah, definitely.
This is a unique experience, and I'm glad to be part of it. Thanks.
After watching these tapes, I don't know about you, but I know you feel the way I feel. It's so excited to have this process that we can grow and share leadership and ethics and values to our young men and women that are coming behind us. So I think if I've captured this thought tonight, I think it's more of the legacy of what RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, can do for future generations. I can't thank you all enough for having taken the time to be here, but I know it hasn't ended, it's just beginning. So I hope that you and Darrell and Julie and Brad, and especially Sean, that you continue to give back in service, and especially our Rotary RYLA. It'll continue as long as we continue to make it happen. And I want to thank you, the viewers. It's our privilege to share this with you, but most importantly is we want you to know that Rotary is in your own community, and if you have any information that you want to find out, you can contact your own Rotary clubs in your own community. We hope you come back for the next episode. There are some other great projects that Rotary International has been involved in, and they're all right in your backyard. We hope that you've enjoyed this evening, and it's been a privilege to serve you tonight, the viewers. Thanks for sticking with us, and we hope to see you next time. This is Marty Peters saying, have a great day.